everybody, welcome to All Games, New and Old Digital. I'm David Rodriguez, and today I'm going to be unboxing this 500 gigabyte hard drive that was sent to me from Jmachen. They sent this to me, but I'm not getting paid by them or anything, and I'm going to be giving you my honest opinion on this particular device. This is the second hard drive that they have sent me. The previous one was a 5 gigabyte hard drive as well, but there are a couple differences. This one, I believe, is going to need an external power source, and then also this has 3 front ends. It has Launchbox, Playnite, and Retrobat. So I'll be showing you the collections of those and then going on to performance and review for those. Now, if you've watched other reviews of hard drives before, you might know that I have trouble getting OBS to actually record Retrobat on the collection screens. So if I have that trouble again, which likely I will just be using my camera to record my laptop screen so that you can at least see it that way. It's not ideal, but until I figure out some kind of workaround for that, that's what I'm gonna have to do. But in the meantime, let's get into this box and I'll show you what we've got here. Okay, so here is the actual drive itself, of course. So it has a pretty nice texture to it. I like that. On the top here, it has the input for the power, the on and off switch, and then the USB port to connect it to your computer. I don't know if this comes apart easily or not. I don't really see. Yeah, I don't know. All right. I was going to kind of open it up and see what the actual brand of the drive was, but that's looking to be trickier than I can do just right here. Regardless, I'm not too worried about it. Their previous hard drive was really great. So let's go ahead and look at what else we have in here. Here is our power supply there. We have our USB cable here, not a super long one, but chances are you won't need that. You're gonna be hooking up to a computer. Just to be clear, because I always get asked this question for these, you do have to have this connected to a computer in order to run it. It requires Windows, and so you can't just hook it up to a TV. As cool as that would be, that's just not how it is. So there's that. Here is this is just an instruction manual for the hard drive dock, really. So that's not super exciting. And that's really it for the box. So, nothing too crazy, but you wouldn't expect to have a lot in here. So with that being said, let's go look at the collections and then we'll talk about what I think about this particular device. All right, so here we are in Launchbox. And I don't know yet if the collections are going to be the same here as they are in Retrobat. I suspect there might be some different stuff, but there we go. So this has Xbox. I don't think the previous one did have Xbox games on there, so not a massive collection, but you do have some cool stuff on here. Aliens vs. Predator Extinction. I never played that, but Halo's on here. Psychonauts is a fantastic game. Sims, that's pretty cool. So a lot of these I haven't actually tried, so that's pretty neat. By the way, this drive has over 38,000 games on it, and then also, I believe, 50 or over 50 different emulators. All right, so N64, let's check this out. So down here, it has 393 games on this system. So I'm guessing that's going to be a pretty big portion of what was actually available for the Nintendo 64. I'm just kind of zipping through here, take a little peek, see if there's anything really odd on here. I mean, there's some Japanese games that I don't know what they are, so I guess those might seem kind of odd, but for the most part, it's probably most everything that you know of being on the system. I'm trying to think if there's anything as I'm scrolling that I'm missing, but I'm not seeing anything yet. Let's see. Your StarCraft 64 Star Wars games. Let's see, Tony Hawk 1 through 3. And into our wrestling games. Looks like all the major ones are here. Fantastic. Okay, great. All right, so there's all the N64 Nintendo Entertainment System. 1,748 games. Wow, that's a lot. I meant to check on this and just kind of see. Shows a screenshot here and all the information on the side, a little description as well, which is always cool. Let's see. So I'm definitely not going to know if anything's missing here. There's so many Nintendo games, but it's great to see this kind of a collection on here. The nice thing about these is they don't take up a huge amount of space. They can really squeeze just about anything that's out there onto these drives. I guess if you miss anything, you can probably just go find it and add it yourself. It's not too big a problem. But yeah, A lot of good stuff on here. So I won't go through all of it because it is so many. Let's go to the GameCube. All right, 26 GameCube games. We got 1080, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Man 2005, your couple Need for Speeds, Medal of Honor, Paper Mario, Vice Star Online 3. Let's see, Second Sight, Soul Calibur, Star Fox Adventures, Smash Bros. Melee. And there's Wave Race down there. No Mario Sunshine, which is a little bit surprising, and none of these Zelda games, but I know Nintendo's being a lot tougher with some of those things right now, so that might be why. Speaking of that, let's look at what's on the Switch here. So we have a couple Crash games. Is this... Enter the Gungeon. Flashback, Link's Awakening, Salt and Sanctuary, and Mario Odyssey. So, little collection there. The Wii, only one game, Donkey Kong Country Returns, but there you go. Wii U, we have Zelda Wind Waker HD, that's awesome, and Mario Kart 8. Sega Genesis, we have 1,047 games on here. I'm guessing that's pretty much everything as well. Kind of do a quick scroll through here a little bit. And as you can see, it's got both US and Japanese releases. So some of those might be easier or harder depending on, how vital it is to be reading what they are putting on the screen for you there. But tons of good stuff. Love it. Pretty great collection. All right, let's check out the Saturn, one of my favorite systems. Okay, Albert Odyssey, Burning Rangers, you have the Christmas Knights, Dark Savior, Daytona, Dragon Force, great game, Guardian Heroes, House of the Dead, Mega Man 8, Mega Man X4, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Panzer Dragoon 2's Way, Quake, Radiant Silvergun, fantastic shooter, Rayman, Resident Evil, Saturn Bomberman, Shining Force 3, Shining Holy Ark, Sonic Jam, Sonic R, Street Fighter Alpha 2, Alpha 1, Thunder Force 5, great selection there. Lots of good stuff. All right, this has 41 PlayStation games. All right, so we have a few cool RPGs just right up at the top already. Alender, As Your Dreams, Brave Fencer Musashi, Breath of Fire 3 and 4. Got your Crash games, Ape Escape, Dino Crisis, Einhander, Final Fantasy, various games here. I don't think we have Final Fantasy 8 or 9. Let's see, Legends of Gaia, Medieval 2, Mega Man Legends, Monster Rancher 2, Need for Speeds, Resident Evil, Saga Frontiers, Silent Hill, Suikoden 2, Tactics Ogre, Tales of Destiny, Tomba, Vagrant Story, Vandal Hearts, and Wild Arms, all good stuff. Let's check out PlayStation 2. Also 41 games, so you got all your Burnouts, Black, Disgaea, that's fantastic, Grand Theft Auto 3, and Vice City Stories. The first Jack and Daxter, Katamari Damacy, Max Payne 2. Let's see. Need for Speed Underground 2, Shadow of the Colossus, Code Veronica X, Soul Calibur 2, Spider-Man, SSX on Tour, Star Wars Battlefront, Time Splitters, Beautiful Joe, Virtua Fighter Evolution, fantastic, X-Men Legends 2, great. Let's check out PlayStation 3. All right, so just 3 games here. We have Catherine, we have the God of War Collection, so that's God of War 1 and 2. And Wolf Among Us. The PSP, we have 88 games. That's pretty good size collection here. Oh wow, you have old Activision Atari games. That's kind of cool. Brave Story, Castlevania, Dracula X Chronicles, Class of Heroes, another Disgaea. Let's see. What is this? Almanage Original? Not at all familiar with that, so that's kind of cool. God of War games, a few Grand Theft Autos, Gungnir. That's not familiar to me either. Gosh, man, there's a few games that I thought I'd seen them all, but at least I don't remember them. But Lumens or Luminous, I'm not sure. Pretty good puzzle game there. Let's see, Prince of Persia. Persona 3, that's cool. Sid Meier's Pirates, Sonic Rivals, Star Ocean, 1st and 2nd. I'm trying to look a little more carefully because there's been some games that I am just not familiar with, so that's always kind of fun to see. Worms 2 Open Warfare. Worms is a great series. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend. What is this? Extreme Party. Okay. Might be like a rhythm game? I'm not sure. Okay. Let's go on to the Super Nintendo. 758 games. So great collection here. I'm going to zip on down through. I don't see any Japanese games. So it looks like it's all going to be English releases, I think. Don't hold me to that in case I run across something later here, but looks like it's all English release. I'm guessing much like the other kind of older systems, that if it's a game that came out, it's probably on here. Oh my God, there's a bunch of educational Mario games. I didn't even know that they made all these different ones. I knew about Mario's Missing and Mario's Time Machine. I didn't know about these numbers and whatever. So not that I'm personally going to get into that very much, but hey, you know what? It's there. If you have a kid that wants to learn some stuff through a console system, basically, you've got that option. Nobunaga's Ambition. I always wanted to get into these games. I forget which one I was playing on, like one of the handheld systems. And it seems cool, but God, there's so much going on. I need like someone to walk me through like the first 8 hours of that or something, just so I can get the hang of what's happening. Yeah, it looks like a pretty good complete collection here. So that's fantastic. All right, well, let's go on to the other two front ends. We'll look at Retrobat and Playnite. Hopefully I can get Retrobat to show up one way or the other so you can actually see the collections, but we'll give it a shot. All right, so if you guessed that Retrobat is still not working with OBS for me, you are correct. I must figure out a way around that at some point. But for now, I will just show you some of these collections this way. So we have a Thomas Wave, which is going to be some arcade games. We've got a couple different arcade collections on here, so you can look through and see what we've got. I don't think it's a massive. How much was in this? It looks like 29 maybe. I'm kind of in a weird spot, so I can't totally read the numbers great, so I might be off by a few, just to let you know. Oh, the Sega SG-1000. That was the Sega system before the Master System. So these are going to be some, pretty old-looking games, but it's kind of fun to see where where games have come from, actually. I kind of like it. All right, Game Gear. This is definitely not one that was on Launchbox. So we can kind of go through here. This is another system that I did not have in the past. So I don't really know exactly what all is good and bad on here. I'm just going to have to experiment around. I think they do have some reviews or star ratings down in the lower right corner, as you can see. So that can kind of help give an idea of what's worth your time. It also has a little section there where it shows how many players and when it was released and what type of game it is, if you're unsure, which is great. Let's see, 32X was on the other one. And these collections are pretty much the same, at least judging by the number of games in each collection. So I don't have to go through the ones that we've already seen on Launchbox. I don't remember Dreamcast being in there. So we've got several things here. So it's taking a little bit longer to load up because it's doing the videos here on this one, which it hasn't been on some of the others. Marvel's Capcom 2, have to have that one. But pretty nice collection here. Okay. Naomi. This is also going to be Sega games. A lot of these are games that would also be on the Dreamcast. So if you don't see one over there, it might also be over here, worth looking into anyway. I've already seen some that are in both places, like the Power Stone games, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But, some different stuff here. Neo Geo. I keep forgetting to tell you how many. So there's, it's like 151 games, I believe. So, oops, I didn't actually get into it. So tons of stuff that you might have seen in the arcade. I miss these old Neo Geo arcade cabinets where it was like 3 or 4 games, I think. And you could just pick which one you wanted to play. And of course, I always wanted the system at home. But god dang, those games were like $200 each. It was crazy. So never ended up getting one, but a lot of cool stuff on there. Neo Geo Pocket. Retrobat has like all the, not all, but has a lot of the portable systems on it that were not in Launchbox. So Neo Pocket, I had the Neo Pocket Color, so I think some of the games are going to be the same, but obviously colorized. This was a great little handheld. I think it deserved to do better over here than it did, but you know, that's how it is. Good stuff. All right, PlayStation, PS2, PS3 we have your all games. You can do favorites. Final Burn Neo, some more classic arcade stuff here. Again, it's because it's loading in video, it takes a little bit to like go between games here. I wonder if that will go away the more I do it. I'm not sure. But yeah, if you're missing something in one of the other arcade collections, it could well be in here. I think there was over 2,000 games. Let's see. Oh no, I was thinking of MAME. I'm sorry. Yeah, MAME. MAME is 2,116, it looks like. So, gosh, the arcade game ads are so freaking weird sometimes. Just strange. Like they wouldn't be the same today for sure. But fun stuff there. I love playing these old arcade games and just, you know, jumping into them because it's so easy to get in and out. You don't have to commit anything to it really. It's just a good time. All right, so Fami Turbo, which is like some kind of accessory for the Super Famicom. I don't know exactly what it does, but you have a lot of the Japanese Super Famicom games in here. You have your Wonder Swan. I'm gonna go to the Wonder Swan Color. This was only released in Japan, I believe. At least it wasn't released in the US. And it was supposed to be a really cool handheld, but of course the problem is that all these games are probably going to be in Japanese, so that could be a little rough. Some will be harder than others, but you can try them. It's kind of cool. Turbo Graphics. I don't believe we had that in the Launchbox. I don't think we did. So a lot of different kinds of games on here, but there's a pretty broad selection of shmups. If you like shmups, tons of them on here, which is great. I really like those games too, especially if you just want to like not be thinking too hard, just spend a little time blasting things away. It's a good way to do it. All right, let's move on. Game & Watch stuff. Okay. Oh, how many are in here? 50, 59, looks like maybe. This is such bizarre stuff, but kind of cool. I didn't have too many. I think I had a Frogger, one of these, and then I also had, I don't know if it's the same thing, but I had like a Frogger watch too, like Game Watch, which is kind of crazy. All right, Game Boy. So we have like about 1,527 games. So tons of stuff here. Probably have just about everything that was released in English. Pretty cool. Super Nintendo, Super Game Boy, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color. This is 1,289 games. These are kind of fun to see too. I actually only recently tried to go back and play a Game Boy Color game, and they looked a lot better than I remembered them looking. So that's kind of cool. For some reason, I just had them in my head as being uglier than they actually are, but there's some good stuff on there. All right, Game Boy Advance. It's kind of nice if you play this on a widescreen monitor, is that it actually will fit pretty well because that was a widescreen system. Okay, so a lot of 2-in-1 cartridges. That's just how they were released a lot of times on there. So you have to scroll through quite a lot before you start getting to the games that are just on one cartridge, which it's easier to search for them because if you're looking for Aladdin, you don't want to be trying to remember what other game it was stuck in a cartridge with in case it's listed by that. But man, this was such a cool system. I really loved it. Okay, Nintendo DS. So the way it shows it in a little screenshot there is it really cuts it in half, and I don't know if that's like it takes up the whole screen, cuts it in half, and I don't know if that's actually how it's going to show up. So that's something when I get to the review part, I'll at least show some of that so you have an idea. Okay, got Wii U, MSU1. This is, and it has enhancement to some of the NES games. I don't know what the enhancements are though. I forget which one of these I played on another drive, and I couldn't immediately tell what the difference was. So it might sometimes be something kind of subtle, but there it is. Same Switch games, and we're back to Thomas Wave. So that's everything on Retrobat. But yeah, if you're looking for one of those handhelds, that's where it'll be. But I mean, honestly, you could just play straight out of here unless you just don't like Retrobat for whatever reason, because I think all of those consoles and games that were on Launchbox are also in here. So yeah, that option. I actually like the way Retrobat looks a lot. I just think it's a cool looking front end, but either way, it works fine, and tons of choices here. So that being said, let's go on and see what's in Playnite, and then I'll get to the review part of this. All right, so I've opened to Playnite full screen. I just kind of like it better, although I might change the way this is set up just to kind of see everything at once a little better. So, Astebra? I don't even know what that is. I haven't heard of that one. Balatra, I've heard of that. Potato. Chicken Police, that's a new one for me too. Creeks, Cult of the Lamb, Cuphead, Day the Diver, Dead Cells, Double Dragon Gaiden, Far Lone Sales, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 5, Final Fantasy 6, that's cool. Flippin' Cactus, Hades, Hades 2, I believe that must just be the demo, because I'm pretty sure Hades 2 is not out, but there you have it. Inside, Limbo, Little Nightmares. A lot of these games are great. Some of them, though, I'm not familiar with at all, so that's cool. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded, Monster Prom, Monument Valley, Neon Abyss, Nobody Saves the World, Octopath Traveler, Ori and the Blind Forest, RimWorld, Risk of Rain 2, Roots of Pacha, Skull, the Hero Slayer, Slay the Spire, Speed Brawl, Steel Assault, Subnautica Below Zero, System Shock, System Shock, Turtle Shredder's Revenge, Binding of Isaac, King of Fighters 2002, This War of Mine, Thronefall, I don't know Thronefall, Tunnel Day, Vampire Survivors, Wild Frost, and Yoku's Island Express. Okay, so those are all the PC games that are on here, so pretty good selection. Not a ton of like the really like super big games, which I'm sure is just mainly to save space, but a lot of these are really popular and well liked, and some of them I just don't know, but they might be also fantastic. I have to look into that. But anyway, that's everything on the collections, at least that I could show you without keeping this going forever. So let's go to some performance stuff. I'm not going to go too much into the older systems because those should run just fine, but I will show you a little collage of them, and then we'll go on to my thoughts on how this whole thing works. so here I am playing Halo on the Xbox emulator. It's being emulated through Zemo. Now, this particular emulator, you do need to do a little setting up when you first get it. It does have a nice video that shows you exactly what you need to do. So it's not actually hard, but I didn't realize that at first. At first I thought that this was not working. Now I have upscaled the graphics, so they're at, I basically did a 3x upscale. So it's looking a lot cleaner than it would have on the original Xbox for sure. And, you know, your ability to do that is going to depend a little bit on your system that you're running it on. But for the most part, this works really well. Occasionally when things get really, you know, action-packed, all of a sudden if there's a lot of stuff going on the screen, it'll do a little bit of a stutter for a second. But that being said, it's over pretty quick. Like, I think it loads in whatever it has to load in relatively fast, and then you can go on and play and have no real issues. So once you get the Xbox emulator set up, you're good to go, and these games are working great so far. I haven't run across any of them that have had any issues. But yeah, I'm loving this. This is prettier than I've ever played Halo, so can't complain about that. Alright, so now I'm doing the PS2, and this is Jack and Daxter. I have this also upscaled, but it's at a 2.5x resolution, and I did that just because I know this one's a little tougher for systems to handle. And I do occasionally have a little bit of a slowdown when I get into like a new area, or if there's just suddenly a lot going on. But again, like with the Xbox, that passes pretty quickly, so it's just a matter of it loading things in, which is a little bit of a pain. I wish I didn't have to do that, but it is what it is. Alright, so now I'm on the PS3. This is the game Catherine, which is a really good, or really weird game, but pretty fantastic. The only other games on here was a God of War collection, and then a Wolf Among Us, which are, you know, of course, both great, but I figured this is like the one that's really, truly a PS3 exclusive kind of thing that actually has 3D graphics and whatnot. So that being said, this works really quickly, pretty much right off. I didn't have to do anything special to get this game going, and it's actually run very smoothly. Now, granted, you know, this game is not extremely complicated or all that incredibly demanding, I don't think, but I've experienced no slowdown with it, which is always a good sign. And not something I've had on a lot of the more advanced systems. Now, when you do start up a PS3 game for the first time, or actually pretty much every time you start up, it's going to have to load in a bunch of things, it's shaders and all sorts of files. It doesn't really take that long, but just so you know, that's just going to be something you go through every single time. But, you know, small price to pay to play some of these games without having to hook up a whole system again. Alright, so we got the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8. I'm running pretty smoothly. Every once in a while I see a little minor hiccup, but nothing too crazy. And I have a feeling that'll probably go away the longer I play this. But, you know, as you can see, it's running beautifully. No problems whatsoever. There's only a couple Wii U games on here, so, you know, nothing too crazy, but you can always try to find some more. I just had a couple skipping moments right there. So, perhaps not without its faults, but in general, it's perfectly playable. And you may have some differences depending on your system, as always. Alright, I'm playing on the Big N's most recent system, and this is, oh boy, this is Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. I have it in Windows mode so I can kind of keep an eye on the frames per second. It's going 27 frames per second. I don't know what this game usually runs at, but oh, right to a pole. Anyway, but it's looking good. I played a little bit of this last night as well, just to kind of mess with it. And I haven't really had too many hiccups on this one. Much like always when I have a Switch emulator on one of these hard drives, you do have to go in and configure the controls. It's not going to be ready for you right out of the box. It'll look fine when you look at the settings, but you do have to go in and input each button press just to make sure that it'll acknowledge your controller. So no big deal there. I played Super Mario Odyssey on here as well. I'm not showing that because of... because of Nintendo, but it runs well. It does have to load in shaders every time you come to a new level, and that's okay. It'll just be kind of slow at first when you first start playing the game, and then as you play it, that problem goes away. I did have some issues on the cinematics where they ran, but there would be a lot of little short pauses. Like every few seconds there'd be a little short pause. Now that might be something that will go away in time. I'm not certain. I didn't play it for a super long time. I just wanted to see that it basically functioned. But it wasn't too big an issue. I imagine if there was a game where like the cinematics were super important, and if it did that, that might be kind of annoying. But I don't think that's going to be the case with every game. Anyway, And as I said, that might actually go away even on Mario Odyssey. Overall, though, I'm pretty happy with how this is functioning on here, and I haven't messed with any upscaling or anything like that, so I haven't tried that, but so far so good as far as the system goes. All right, here I am in Playnite playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, I believe it's called. Anyway, I'm going through it. Cool little beat 'em up. There's not a lot of like the really super demanding PC games on here, but there's a lot of still great stuff. I mean, I love this personally. I love the Turtles, but that's all run well too, so no real problems there. I mean, I figure that you know, these are PC games, you're going to be running on a PC, it's probably not that hard to get them going, as long as your system can handle these games, which again, I think usually I'll be able to. Shouldn't be any kind of issue, but I love that these games are here, personally. Alright, so you've seen a bunch of the gameplay, and I kind of told you some of my thoughts on some of the emulators that were a little trickier, like the Xbox and the Switch. So let me get into my final thoughts on this particular hard drive and why I think that you will want to get it. For one, I really just like the selection here. I mean, obviously, when you get to the less powerful systems, there's going to be a bigger selection and probably less chance of a game that you don't want being on there, but yeah, it's got a ton of stuff, and then it's got some of the really cool newer stuff as well. And if it's stuff that you don't want, it's easy enough to get rid of those and add in something of your own. You just have to go find the proper ROMs to do so. I like that at least recognize my controller right away. I'm using an Xbox controller. I imagine that you'll have the same luck if you've connected your controller to your PC before. I don't imagine that would be an issue, but if so, there's ways to go in and change the controller setup. Having the 3 different front ends is really nice. I mean, there's a lot of crossover between Launchbox and Retrobat. You know, your main core console systems are going to be in both, but you can kind of mess around with it and see if you like one more than the other. I don't think it affects performance in any way, but you know, Retrobat has all like the cool bezels. If you like those, you don't have to have those on. And if you're having trouble with a game running in Retrobat with the bezels on there, I've heard that if you turn them off, sometimes that can help it run a little smoother. And when I showed you the games, I kept the bezels on, but you'll notice, of course, like with the Game Boy, for instance, it has to show you like the outer edges of this Game Boy picture they made, so it technically makes the picture smaller. So if you don't want that, you can just, you know, alter that if you like. I, at least so far, have not run across any ROMs on here that just don't work, which is great. I don't imagine there probably are any. You know, I can't test all of them because there's so many games. You know, if I did run across any, it's not like that big a deal. You know what I mean? There's so many games on here. It's not like I'd run out of things to do. So that's not really an issue at all. Now, if I want to be straightforward with the negatives, there are a couple. I don't personally prefer the hard drives that require a separate power source. And, you know, I understand when I've done like the 12 terabyte hard drives, I don't think there's a hard drive out there that doesn't require a power source that's that big. But the 500 gigabyte ones, you know, you can find those that don't require it pretty easily, and this company even makes some. So I don't generally prefer that. It's not really a big deal, but you know, just a minor nitpick there. I don't know what the issue is with on any of these hard drives, not just from this company, any of them, having to set up the switch controls every single time. It's a minor thing. I guess if you have trouble finding it, that could be tricky. I didn't go through exactly how to find it in this video, but I have in some of my others. But it's not really hard to do, but it's just, you know, one of those things. And as I mentioned, with the Xbox emulator, you do have to do a few things to get it to run properly on your system, just because they couldn't do that ahead of time because you have to tell it where to find certain files that all come with the hard drive. But it's not going to be universal for everyone's system, so that's just something that you have to do. And I didn't realize it at first, but they got back to me right away when I expressed them that I was having some trouble with that. I suppose I could criticize the Playnite collection because there's not like any like the really big, really graphically impressive titles in there, but they're trying to cram as many different things in here as they possibly can. So, you know, putting one of those in takes up a huge chunk of space that they'd probably rather have for like the various console systems. So it's understandable. And a lot of the games I haven't tried on here yet. So I'm not really bothered. I have a lot of the more fancy PC games that I want to play elsewhere anyway. So not a huge issue. Now, you might be wondering, like, saying that all this sounds great, why should you get this particular hard drive? Well, I want to tell you about the price of this thing. Now, usually, This thing retails for just a little shy of 54 bucks, which is already not a bad deal for a hard drive this size, loaded with games. It's pretty fantastic. But they said this to me and they wanted me to get a video out as fast as I could because they're actually doing a Black Friday sale. So it's on now by the time you watch this, and it'll be, I don't know if it ends right after Black Friday or not. So if this sounds good to you, you might want to jump on it. But right now, looking at AliExpress, and I'll have a link, by the way, down in the description. Right now, this thing is $19.39. That is flipping, and that'd be insane if it was just the hard drive with nothing on it, honestly. The fact that it has all these emulators and ROM collections, all that, it's amazing. Even if you just want this for the ROM collections, like if you have some other way you want to play it, you want to do it on a handheld or something, dang, man, like that, that is an incredible deal. I almost was baffled when I first, because they sent me a link so I could go and like take a look more in depth at the product when they asked if I wanted to review it, and I was shocked. I was shocked at that price. It's incredible, honestly. If there's like a few games on here that you don't have that you would like to play, I mean, it's probably worth it. And I say all that, I'm just sounding very glowing in that I want to reiterate, they're not paying me. They sent me the hard drive. I just think it really is that phenomenal deal. So this might be one you want to jump on real quick before that sale ends. I'm going to try to get this video edited out as soon as I possibly can. So hopefully you'll have at least a few days to get in there and get it. But yeah, any negatives I have are so minor in comparison to the deal that this is. I just don't, I almost feel bad bringing them up, other than I want you to be informed and know my thoughts on it. So anyway, with that being said, I always give a rating to things I review, going on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being something that is non-functional or makes me so sad or upset to use that I would not want to inflict it upon you. A 5 is a completely take it or leave it experience, and a 10, of course, is either perfect or it's so good that the negatives don't even matter. Okay, now, because of the nature of how I'm trying to get this out and when I'm trying to get this out, I'm going to give it 2 ratings, okay? At its regular MSRP of the $53.79, I would probably give this an 8 because it is a great collection. Everything works great as far as I've seen so far. You know, I would prefer a non-plug-in hard drive. That's just my preference. You know, there's some stuff that I guess I would rather have in some of like the higher end systems, but that's personal tastes. But yeah, I can't really have too many complaints about it. I would just prefer a non-plug-in drive. But if you're able to get this at $19.39, and I've seen it fluctuate a little bit, but still stay in that range. Like I've never seen it go north of $20. If you can get this for that price, this is a 10. I'm literally baffled at the cost of this thing for what you get. So try to get in on this deal if you want this at all. This seems interesting because that's an incredible price. So, I mean, at that price, yeah, this is, it's almost absurd. So, fantastic deal. And still, even at the regular MSRP, still a really good choice. So, don't be sad if you miss that deal. If you don't see this video in time, but you still think this looks like a great drive for you, man, it's still a good price. So, yeah, I think it's a great one to go for if you just want to, you know, have a good collection, especially the more retro stuff. I mean, you got pretty much everything on here. So anyway, those are my thoughts. If you have any questions, let me know. I will try to get back to you. My life tends to get very busy and hectic, so sometimes I don't reply when I would like to, and I apologize for that if you've ever asked me anything and I haven't got back to you. Not personal, I promise. But I will do my best. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on it as far as what you've seen. If you have any like games you're excited about or anything at all, I'd love to hear that. I'd just like to hear what folks are thinking out there. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe and click the little bell icon so you know about the next time we put out a video. Until then, happy gaming. All right, you made it to the end of another video. If you want to help the channel out, make sure you like it, subscribe, leave a comment if you can. All these things really help, and make sure you tell friends about us because that would also be fantastic.
Yeah. If you enjoyed that video, you might like this one.
Or this one.
We're also on social media. There's a Facebook group. We're on Twitter/X and Instagram.
Yep. So until next time, we'll see you around the table.
Bye.